The BBKS High School in Ga-Phala Village in Limpopo is accusing the Provincial Department of Education of ignoring a court order instructing the department to grant the school recognition as a National Senior Certificate Examination Center. The privately founded school says about 10 matriculants now face the possibility of delays in sitting for upcoming preliminary exams, and should the department not act. And we speak now to the school's interim spokesperson, Brinny Mphogo. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, Ms. Chaba, to you and all the viewers. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Now, Brinny Mphogo, we understand that this battle began in early 2022. Just walk us through that initial application for exam center registration. What happened?
100%. Thank you, Ms. Chaba. We really do find ourselves now in quite a complicated situation with the Provincial Department of Education, one where really it should be a very simple and straightforward procedure. So it all started in 2022 when we received our MS number, which then allowed us to be able to trade as a high school. Following that, we then made it quite clear to the department that we have the intentions of having our first set of matriculants in 2025. So in 2022, unfortunately, we didn't receive a response from the department in that regard of being able to issue us with that examination center number. 2023, once again, we made our intentions clear, but to no avail or response from the department. In 2024, we then obviously went through the process with Umalusi being able to get our self-evaluation, of which Umalusi then approved our self-evaluation and said that everything is okay and would be able to proceed. But for them to be able to carry on with what they needed to finish on their side, we would need that examination center number. So enter now 2025, where we learn at a circuit meeting that we need to now have our learners shared to other or a local school in the area due to the fact that we do not have that examination center number. A situation which really perplexes us as we find ourselves saying we've been speaking about this for the last 3 years or so with no response. Which is then what led us to the court on an urgent application, of which then we did receive a positive judgment from the court, which instructed the department to be able to reinstate services and in terms of the SASM system and issue us with that examination center number so that we can be able to have these 10 students write their matric at their school of choice. And unfortunately, fortunately at that time then, the department did reinstate some of the services, but then again in May, those services were then revoked once again. And we find ourselves asking ourselves, well, what could really be the issue now? So on an urgent basis again, we returned to the courts. And again, we received in July, we received a second judgment from the Polokwane High Court, which says that the department needs to reinstate services and not shed the learners, as they put it, to the local school of the department's choice. So now we find ourselves in the face of the media, as we are now, seeking a voice for the voiceless. I mean, Ms. Chaba, we all know the pressures that come with the students preparing for their matric exams. The last thing we need now is to be adding to the trauma and the stress levels of these students by
and we'll speak about those stress levels. But first, I mean, this is really quite perplexing. So I just need to know from you, Brinny, do you think that this is a case of administrative delay or deliberate obstruction?
So, Ms. Chaba, you know, this is if I could maybe use the analogy of a parent and a child, where the department is the parent and us as an entity being the child. You know, you don't want to find yourself in a situation where you're fighting with your parent. So really, this is a humble plea to say those that are responsible, they know themselves. We don't want to be dragging anyone's name through any unnecessary drama. Please just release the examination center number so that the students or the learners can be able to to write. So we don't want to, at this point, allude to thinking that this could be any malicious actions from the department or anything of the sort. We really just want to seek refuge and justice for these children so they can have their constitutional right exercised of being able to get basic education.
Now, your school operates as a non-profit organization serving grades 8 to 12. So what gap were you trying to fill in rural education when you established the school?
So in the circuit, we identified a need for a private school, one that would also have English as a first language. So we are the only educational entity in that circuit that offers English as a first language, which poses another issue if the department wants to indeed shed the learners, because where they would shed the learners, they would be moving them to an institution where English is a second language or an elective language, and the first language of choice would be Sepedi, which creates a massive issue in terms of being able to properly grade the performance of these learners.
Now, you mentioned trauma when speaking about the students. How have your grade 12 students been affected by this uncertainty over the past 3 years?
We really have been trying to manage the situation by communicating with them and trying our best to keep them as calm as possible. But now, really, time has run out. On the 1st of September, these children need to start writing the preliminary exams in preparation for the year-end exams. And so, really, this is why now we are saying, can the media please be a voice for the voiceless? Because for the last 3 years, we have tried everything that we can. We've run the system of the courts, and it's really an uncomfortable journey that we've been traveling with the department. And, once again, I just want to reiterate to the department that all we're looking for is an examination center number to be able to assist the children of Ga-Phala and any other child who would like to come and be a student at that school.
Now, speaking of the courts, Judge Makoti said that their futures are at stake when referring to your students. How significant was it to have a judge acknowledge what you've been saying all along?
For us, that really was a daybreak because, at times you sometimes question yourself to say, oh, we may be missing a mark somewhere here. But when Makoti said that, Judge Makoti said that, we realized that indeed we are actually fighting for a good cause here, and we are well within our rights. And ultimately, he's 100% correct. Their futures are at stake, as without a matric certificate, I mean, you and I know, Master Chaba, the importance of education. And if the department is going to gamble with the lives of these children, I mean, really, that is not something that we can be able to stand for. And with education, basic education being a constitutional right, we really would like to think that, or hope to see the department exercising on the 2 court orders without us having to then maybe go to the Constitutional Court.
Now, the school returns to court on Tuesday. What outcome are you most hoping for from this court appearance?
We are looking for the examination center number. If we can get that, we believe that we can begin the process of repairing our relationship with the department, which ultimately, if I'd go back to my previous analogy of a parent and a child, literally we have a long relationship to go with the department still. So we would like to have that examination center number. And if there are any issues, then they must please approach us and let us know what those issues are. There are none that we are aware of. Umalusi, thumbs up to them. They've been really great in this process. They've given us the provisional accreditation for 2 years, which obviously would be the standard procedure with any other institution. However, they need to press that accreditation against an examination center number, not against our MS number. So we desperately need that examination center number.
All right. And before I let you go, Brinny, do you think this case represents broader challenges facing rural schools in Limpopo? And what message does this 3-year battle send about how rural education is prioritized by the provincial government?
Honestly, Mas Chaba, it begs the question to say, in this day and age, are rural schools still not taken seriously? Limpopo is trying its ultimate best to be able to get better matric students, or in terms of the marks and the like. So institutions like ours that bring a different flavor to education and being able to have English as a first language in the village, really for us, we see that as quite a pioneering move in terms of having it be a greater spread in rural schools. To say there's maladministration or poor administration, I can't speak much towards that, but what I can say is in the last 3 years, we have been victims of poor administration.
All right. That was BBKS High School interim spokesperson, Brinny Mphogo. Brinny, thank you so much for your time.
Chaba, thank you so much.
Now, please note that the Department of Education in Limpopo has been notified of this engagement and will be afforded the right to respond to the school's claims on the weekend report. And let's hope that this matter can be resolved swiftly, because they are matriculants, indeed, whose futures remain in the balance.